Hello, this is Brian Jenkins, and I'm the Traveling Texan. Well, as you can see, I'm not in Hawaii today. I'm actually back in beautiful Texas. Wonderful day here, 70 degrees and clear and blue. So, always nice to get home. Love to travel. We travel the world, but always nice to be home. Anyway, today what I want to talk about is I want to talk about a recent trip that we just took, a trip to Hawaii. And as many of you know, Hawaii during these times of COVID has had pretty strict travel restrictions, and now they have made it much easier to get there, which still caused a little bit of worry on my part. I was just concerned that I did everything right. I didn't want to get there and have to quarantine or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure I did everything correctly. I looked on YouTube and everything, and I could find a couple things, but not anything that really was definitive on what I needed to do. So I thought I'd make this video on what to expect, how to get ready to go to Hawaii, what to expect once you're in Hawaii, and then getting home from Hawaii. So first of all, let's talk about getting to Hawaii. The first thing you need to do is register on the Safe Hawaii travel site. And it's very easy. They ask you just your name, address, phone number. That's just the typical questions that you would expect them to answer, and then or ask. And then you have to go down and you have to get a once you're registered into the system, then you got to go down and get a within 72 hours of your final leg, you have to go down and get a COVID test. And it must be from one of Hawaii's trusted partners. You cannot just go get a COVID test from any place. It has to be from one of the trusted partners from the Hawaii website. Make sure, very important. So that has to be done. The time you take the test has to be within 72 hours of your final leg. So let's say you take the test on Friday at noon. That means you have to be on your final leg, the LA to Honolulu leg, by Monday at noon, 72 hours later. Monday, if you're not on that final leg till 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, you're going to get there and you're going to be turned away. So make sure that it's within 72 hours you're taking off on your final leg. So then also, once you get your COVID test, you're going to upload that into your into the Safe Travel Hawaii's website. You're going to upload a recent picture of yourself, and then you're gonna, within about 24 hours, fill out the questionnaire. The questionnaire is your typical questionnaire. Have you had a fever? Have you been running with COVID? Those types of questions. Once you do that, you're going to upload that, and then almost within like 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to get a QR code from the website, and that QR code is very important. So we printed out. They recommend that you print out a copy, and I did print out a copy. I took a picture, a screenshot of it, also on my phone, and I also printed out a copy of the results of my COVID test. You never know what's going to happen to your phone. Better to have a couple of duplicates. That way you don't have any issues. We got our COVID test from Walgreens, the Rapid Now COVID test, and it was very easy. We took it at like 9 in the morning, and we had our results 4 hours later. So make sure you take it from someplace that gets you the results very quick. I think Costco has one. If you don't live near a Walgreens that offers the COVID testing, Costco has one that's accepted. So there's many places on that website you can look at. Just make sure you take the right kind of test. You can't take the kind of at-home test where they just go in your nostril, or you spit in a tube, the at-home one, and then you figure it out. The Costco one, I think you do spit in a tube. The doctor, he looks at you, he's watching your video as you spit in this tube, and then you take it, you put it in an envelope, and you UPS it back, and they get it the next day. Then you get the results back that afternoon. I have a friend that did it that way, and everything worked out just perfectly. So, all right, now we've got all of our stuff. We're ready to hop on the plane, and we've got our QR code. We've taken our test. From a trusted Hawaii provider. Now we're getting ready to get on a plane. We're on our final leg. We were on our final leg within about 24 hours of taking our test, because we got it back so fast. We were able to take it so late. So you are now on the plane, and you get to Hawaii. Well, I was, a little bit curious about how that was going to go. I was worried that there's going to be long lines and all that, but it was very, very smooth. It was a lot smoother than coming in from outside of the country, going through customs. We got off. They lead you through a hallway, if you will. You can't veer off. And at the end of this hallway is a mini desk, and each one of them has two people at it. You go up to the desk and you give them your ID, and you show them the QR code, and they pull it up on their computer system. They've got all your stuff there. They've got your picture. They've got your test results. They've got your questionnaire. They both look at it. For some reason, I guess it's a double people looking at it, so they maybe make it safer. And then once everything's in order, they get you on through. So it was very simple. I mean, maybe 5 minutes to get through that process. So then we had friends that picked us up, took us down. We stayed in Waikiki, across from the Duke statue, right in the heart of Waikiki. We stayed at a beautiful condo there, and I was concerned about what it was going to be like. We'd been to Hawaii many, many times, and I was worried about what it was going to be like. Is it going to be a vacation, or is it just going to be like going from Texas, which is pretty open, to a lockdown state? And it was just the opposite. It felt very, very open. The hotels, you had to wear a mask in the common areas, which is fine. And then the pools were a little bit restricted. They had seats were socially distanced from each other, kind of in pods, if you will. And so that was nice. So that actually gave you a lot more room. You didn't feel so cramped as you do in years past. I didn't have any problems getting a chair. It was always very comfortable, and I never felt like it was out of control there or anything like that. I like to go to the fitness center. The fitness center, you had to make an appointment, or some places they limited the number of people in there. You had to get a key from the front desk, and they only had like maybe 5 keys. The west of Moana we stayed at for the last couple of days was like that. But once again, never had a problem. Streets of Hawaii, walking around Waikiki, about 25% of the people were wearing masks. The other 75% were not wearing masks outside. No one was getting stupid. I would say it was not as crowded as usual, which was nice. Stores, when you went in a store, you had to have a mask on. When you did anything, in public areas inside, you had to have a mask, which follows the science. So outside, it was very lax. We even went by policemen and everybody else, and no one said, "Hey, put a mask on." Never. We did walk through some malls that were kind of along Waikiki, and even though they were open, the security guards said, "Hey, you got to have a mask on in the mall," which was no problem. We just put it up, and we were good. When you go into stores, of course, you got to have a mask. We went into Ala Moana Mall. While you're walking around there, you had to have a mask on. But no. Other than that, no issues. I think we're all kind of used to that at this point. Restaurants. We always made for the nicer restaurants for dinner, for sure. We always made a reservation, which were easily gotten, and they were much like they're here on the mainland. You had to have a mask, while you were walking to your table. If you got up to go to the bathroom, you needed a mask. But when you're at the table, you could take your mask off and enjoy your meal and enjoy just talking. While we were there, they went to their phase 3 opening, which meant that it was 75% capacity for bars and restaurants. So the bars that serve food, there are no nightclubs open right now. They were all closed. So if it's just a nightclub and you go in there to go nightclubbing, don't go. There's no nightclubs are not there. But you can go to bars, and they were open late. And as long as they were serving food, you were fine. So very, very easy. Once again, felt very comfortable and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. A lot of fast food places, McDonald's, stuff like that. They had only carry out, but the drive-in, where you get the plate lunches and stuff, they had tables outside you could sit at, and very nice. 75% right now occupancy for restaurants and bars that serve food. So actually felt very, very normal. On the beach, there were no masks. No one was wearing a mask. I was worried about that. I was worried that the mask Nazis would be wanting you to wear a mask while you're on the beach, and that certainly was not the case. No one on the beach was wearing a mask, and it was very, very normal. People did try to stay 6 feet away from each other. You didn't have anyone laying right next to each other, but quite frankly, I'm not sure I've ever been to a beach where people were sitting within 6 feet of me. Usually, people kind of naturally want to spread out and get their own little space. Even in the skinnier parts of the beach, where we stayed at the West of Moana the last couple of days, that beach is not very big. There were people all over that beach, and I saw that it seemed like they were 6 feet away from each other, which isn't a long distance, but they were 6 feet away from each other and socially distanced, and looked like everyone was having just a great time. Getting back, we was very normal. You just went to the airport with your mask on. You went through the normal routine that you would normally through a TSA and everything with your mask on, and we hopped on a plane, and that was it. There was no special process for getting out of there. Planes on the way there were 20% capacity. So I mean, we had our own row. My wife and I had our own row. We flew Southwest, so we had the Southwest lay flat seat, which is we had our own row, so you could just lay flat between the three seats. On the way back, it was a little more crowded. As a matter of fact, I did hear them say that there would be some middle seats filled, but I don't know that any middle seats were filled by strangers. I think there was enough middle seats open that those middle seats that were full were by families. So I didn't see people packed in like sardines, but for sure on the way back, there were middle seats. Every aisle and window seat was taken. So we didn't have anyone in between us. We were in an exit row. We didn't have anyone sitting between us. It worked out perfectly. Beautiful. And then we got on our final leg. We flew into San Jose, and then from San Jose, we flew back to Texas. That was, once again, about the same, about 75% capacity. And we got home to Texas, no issues. So bottom line is, get your COVID test. Register on the Safe Travel Hawaii site, fill out the health questionnaire, make sure your COVID test is from a approved Hawaii partner, and you will have absolutely no problem. It's going to be just very, very simple, as easy as flying internationally. Have a great time, and aloha. We'll talk about Cancun travels. I've traveled there a couple times. We'll talk about that in one of my next episodes, so be sure to look for that, and have safe travels.